Hello everyone and welcome to week 4 of NSTL. I'm DFP, goes to the Fraternity of Pikachus. I'm up against Gem, who leads the Sydney Swanna. And yeah, she's a lot of very scary Pokemon on her team, from Honchkrow to Megalopony to Garchomp to Manaphy. And yeah, it was very difficult to preparing for all of these Pokemon. But she did bring mostly what I thought she would bring. I'm a bit surprised by the Florges, and I'm glad there's no Decidueye, because that's going to prevent Miloetta from getting a Relic Song off. But more or less is what I expected. I'm going to lead with Mimikyu because I gave it a set basically designed to counter this team, with Protect for the Fake Out from Lopunny and Woodhammer for Manaphy, so let's see how that plays out. Also, like right before the battle, I was deliberating between using Shadow Sneak or Shadow Claw, because Woodhammer doesn't actually get the kill, not guaranteed anyways, on Manaphy, but I figured Shadow Sneak seems too obvious, so I'll put Shadow Claw on it, because you probably switch out in that case to Lopunny anyways. So let's get started, and I'm really glad I bring Shadow Claw because she starts off with the Uxie. And yeah, Shadow Sneak only does like 25, but Shadow Claw has a very good chance of 2-hit killing. So I go for the Shadow Claw, and she goes for Shadow Ball, just breaks Disguise, and I'm in a really good position now because she can either stay here and die, which I don't think she's likely to do. I mean, it's a bit of a roll, but I rolled pretty high in the first one, so now the second one killing her pretty good. So yeah, she could either risk sacrificing Uxie here, or go into something else. I'm predicting that she's going to bring in the Lopunny, so I'm going to go for a Play Rough, which is not going to kill because Lopunny at this point is still a normal type, not normal fighting. But yeah, I go for the once Reflect over. I go for the Play Rough, and yeah, she brings in a Garchomp, and that's huge. I don't know why she didn't go for the Lopunny there, and I take a lot of chip damage from the Helmet and the Rough Skin and Life Orb, but that's Garchomp out of the way without getting a single move in, so that's great for me. Really good beginning of the game, and Mimikyu's putting in work. So she brings in Florges, and I'm thinking here, Florges is usually like a cleric, he's usually probably just trying to wall me, although I don't know why I thought that, because Mimikyu's done a lot of sweeps in the past, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense unless she would be able to get a kill here. So for some reason I just think all it's going to do is Moonblast and not be very powerful, so I bring in Dragonite, because Dragonite has a lot of natural bulk and multi-scale, and I give mine a weakness policy, so if this doesn't do that much damage, then I can just roost back up to full, use it, then just Aerial Ace it, or Extreme Speed with a +2 and +2. So yeah, I think I'm in a really good position here, but that does a lot of damage, so I'm assuming that she's either Specs or Max Modest or something like that. I really don't know Florges that well. So the Dragonite is not going to last much longer. I'm just going to go for an Extreme Speed here, because I don't know if that's faster than me or not, and I'm minus Speed Nature actually, so because I'm using physical and special moves on this set. So I'm just going to, and plus my only attacking move that would affect it would be Aerial Ace or Extreme Speed, so there's a difference of like 10 base power when you factor in Stab. So I'm just going to go for Extreme Speed, and that does a lot of damage. But yeah, Dragonite's going to go down, and that's a bit disappointing for Dragonite, and here I bring in Venusaur, because Venusaur is very specially bulky, and I'm going to predict that she goes for the switch and go for the Toxic, because yeah, that was not a favorable matchup for her, and I assume she was choiced. So Uxie is Toxic, so its days are numbered. That's good for me. Bring in Bronzong, because I don't think there's really much they can do to Bronzong, even though I did see the Shadow Ball before. I've completely forgot about that. And she reveals Reflect here, which is a bit concerning, but I also see Leftovers, so I know there's no fear of Light Clay. So Reflect only has like 4 turns left if she switches out something now. I'm going to assume she stays in though, and just try to get up Brox, and then do as much chip damage as I can to supplement the Toxic. Yep, and I'm going to use a Gyro Ball here, and as you see, it's not going to really do shit. That's like basically nullifying Leftovers. And here I'm going to go for the Protect, just to minimize damage, but she uses a Light Screen during that, so it's an okay play. Now, her Reflect only has 1 turn left, but Light Screen is gone for like an entire 7 turns, so I'm in a decent position. I got taken out two of her Mons, one of mine's down, and Florges is pretty badly injured. But with her screens up, it's a bit difficult to tell what will happen here. I believe she brings in... Oh, Manaphy. Okay, so Manaphy... I was really worried about Manaphy going into this battle, because it has coverage for my entire team. I was predicting that she was going with like an Expert Belt set with Energy Ball, Ice Beam, Psychic, and Scald. Because yeah, between all that hits everything I have in my team for at least neutral. So yeah, I was really worried about that. Or she can also set up if she's a substitute. If she replaces one of those with substitute, that means I can't Toxic it, and Bronzong is pretty much useless, and I have to sack something just to get past things. But yeah, I really don't know what set she has, and now she has a screen. So if she sets up, I'm even more screwed. And I also lost my priority user, so I'm really worried here. I go into Venusaur because Venusaur can really survive most things. Venusaur can survive Expert Belt Psychic and can possibly 1v1, but probably not with Light Screen. It still is my best option. I doubt she's going to use a Psychic on Bronzong. So I rein in. I think she uses HP Fire, which to Thick Fat isn't not going to do that much damage. And she goes for a Signal Beam, which I'm confused why she brought that, since it's not actually super effective against with the Poison typing. But she reaches out of Manaphy. I go for the Toxic here again because I know that her move against she doesn't have Psychic. Well, I'm assuming she doesn't have the Psychic, so Switch seems to make sense. So she brings in Honchkrow, and I think she can either go for a knockoff here or a Brave Bird. And I really don't want to risk losing Venusaur, so I'm going to switch out. But the knockoff is really going to hurt Bronzong if that actually is if she is going to knock off. So I'm going to make the risky move, and it plays out. She uses a Brave Bird. She gets a crit, but it doesn't really matter. Bronzong's very bulky. She gets some recoil damage and Toxic. So yeah, here I think I'm just going to try and stall it out. I don't think you can do any setup lines besides Nasty Plot. So yeah, I'm just going to protect here. She goes for the Sucker Punch, does nothing. I'm assuming now that she'll think I'll switch, or that I'm going to just... I don't really know, but I'm able to survive a Pursuit, and I get the crit on the Gyro Ball, and that kills it. So Tapu Rosa getting a kill, surprisingly. And now that this is out, I'm predicting that she's going to go for a Fake Out. So I just go for the Protect here. If I either for the Fake Out or High Jump Kick possibly, and that would be great for me. But yeah, she just uses Brutal Swing, which is not what I was expecting at all. I don't have it. But that's a weird thing. I guess it makes sense considering I did bring Protect on this, and that would do a lot of damage to Bronzong and also Meloetta. Yeah, it's a good idea because like that she knew that I knew she'd have Lopunny, so I put Protection on a lot of things. But yeah, so Bronzong was able to scout that before dying. And here I think I go into Venusaur because Venusaur doesn't really have a lot to fear from this moveset. And she brings in Florges, who's just going to die to Giga Drain. I get back a little bit of health, back to 90%. And Manaphy comes in, and I'm able to 1v1 that easily. When Ice Beam doesn't do much, she could get the freeze packs, but it doesn't happen. Back up to back where I was before. Now 1v1 against Manaphy. I know that Return will do a lot of damage. Yeah, that does a lot. And Giga Drain. So here I'm gonna click a Sludge Bomb here because I'm pretty sure they'll get the kill. And that, as long as she doesn't get any crits, then that's GG. But instead, she misses High Jump Kick, and the recoil from that is going to take out Lopunny and we win the game. So yeah, good game, Gem. And that's it in the Swannas. That gives me a 4-0 win, and puts me currently at the top of the league, which is weird, considering it's my first draft league. It's an interesting experience. But yeah, despite what that might imply, these games are all still very stressful because I do not have all the answers. I just get really lucky with my predictions. So yeah, Venusaur was the MVP. Got a lot of kills with Toxic. I feel kind of bad using like a lot of stalling maneuvers, but I really just had to play it safe around Manaphy, Lopunny, etc. I never got to use my Vaporeon or Meloetta sets, which is probably for the best because my Meloetta set was not necessarily that well thought out. I drafted Meloetta from a trade under a false assumption that it can just stay in this pirouette form. So I was using a mixed one for this time for this battle, but there really wasn't a good time I could bring it in Relic Song. So yeah, I guess I really got lucky on the Garchomp maneuver and got some good Toxic cells off. Next week I'm up against King Bub and the Munchlax. I can't pronounce it. Like, I'll do it. It's like Manchester United, but with Munchlax instead. So yeah, that'll be an interesting battle. And yeah, I think that's it from me. Good game once more. And yeah, this is DFP from the NSTL signing off.